Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Seventh Rule with your stars, Aron Eisenberg and Cirroc Lofton. My name is Ryan T. Husk, and today we are going to discuss Episode 9 of Deep Space Nine, Move Along Home, directed by David Carson. Aron immediately said, right before we recorded, that he's critical of this episode. So rather than talk about all these other things, let's just get into it. Why are you critical?
Let's get into it. Move Along Home. Critical, very critical. I just, there's a lot to talk about for me in this episode. I felt that they missed the mark. I felt that they had a good story idea that they could have really done some good stuff with, but they didn't really go there. There was no real danger. There was no real risk. There was nothing learned, nothing gained by the whole process of playing this game with what we think as we go through the lives of Bashir, Kira, Dax, and Sisko. The things that I really liked about it were Sisko, Odo, and Quark. I enjoyed them the most in the episode. And
as usual.
As usual, yeah. Those have been the three strongest. And again, no O'Brien. O'Brien's not in this episode once again. So, which is interesting. And I know that we make a comment that Keiko is gone, so there's no school. Jake says that. And we do, the best part of this episode is really learning what a ladies' man Nog is. I think that was probably the best part of this episode. And Jake, and how much Jake really looks up to Nog as I'm learning everything about women from Nog.
That was the scene that I wish we could have seen. That if they could go back and redo a scene, I would want an insert of that conversation.
Right? And then Sisko as a dad is going,
oh God.
He's dying. A Ferengi kid is teaching my son about women. And you're like, I got it, Pops. I got it. No, you don't. And you're like rolling your eyes.
He literally tells me to get out of here. Go to school or something. Hey, why don't you go to school or something?
and what's so great about that is how sweet and Jake is and how respectful to his dad. And he's all, I got it. I'm learning about, girls. He's nervous in front of Odo and kind of smiling. Yeah. And you can only imagine what Nog is telling him, And I love how Sisko says, Nog, he's probably staying up late. Oh, he's staying up late. Look out. Call in Odo. Call in security. Get my son out of there. Nog is staying up late. It's like, what would be the equivalent of the bad, right?
Staying up late. The freaks come out at night.
It was great. Like, what is Nog doing late? And then he alludes
staying up
late and doing things with girls.
Oh yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, Sisko, I'm pretty sure Nog's not getting anywhere.
I don't think he's getting laid.
I would have loved to see that scene between like actually talking about it, where Nog's like, this is what you do. Trust me, Ferengi are known to be the Casanovas of the Alpha Quadrant, and really get into it,
Yeah.
What
First you throw this rock at them, and then you make them chew your food.
What Jake should have said, he should have said, yeah, Dad, Nog knows a lot of Dabo girls, they're really attractive.
Yeah. Don't worry, Dad, I got this covered. Nog told me everything I need to know.
Best scene of the show, of the episode. Anyway, moving along on the episode.
Yeah.
I'll start with this, and then we can see what you guys think.
Aron, before you get to that, since you were already talking about that one scene, there was one thing I wanted to point out about that, which was that we finally got what we've been talking about that we're missing, which is
exactly
the scene between the father and the son that everybody talks about. When Darnell Davis came on the show, he said that was one of his favorite things. You mentioned it. I mentioned it. Cirroc mentions it. And we got to see it. Now, of course, it was only in the opening scene, and it didn't go from there because there really wasn't any possibility for it the way it was written. But it was really cool to see that opening scene, not just for us, but also because you always want to set up where everything's normal, everything's going great.
Right.
Before everything goes kind of awry. So, you know, I definitely smiled as soon as I saw the opening scene was between the two of them. I'm assuming you guys did too.
Yeah. And on our last episode, that was exactly what I wanted in that one, which is to open the show with the family. But again, they kind of missed the mark here. They could have made something in that scene, even though it wasn't, you know, important about Nog and dating and Jake with getting into girls, but that maybe influenced Sisko's decision later in whatever challenge he was up to. Nah, it's nothing that I think really hurt the episode, but that would have been neat too. And it was great. And I love how Sisko and Cirroc, how you guys interact. I love that he kind of pops you. There's a little pop on your shoulder, you know, when he's talking to you. And it's really wonderful to see Sisko different, you know, as a father. And you see that both sides. You see him as a father and you see him as a leader and a commander, you know?
Yeah, I do. I think it shows another side of him. It definitely gives perspective on just like what softens him up and where he's not, you know, so rigid or having to make these life-death decisions. It's more that family dynamic. I think it really adds layers to his character. I like the interaction that we had. I thought it reminded me of the kinds of moments that we had together when we were filming.
Do you remember that day?
No, I don't remember it specifically. Like, you know, I don't remember it specifically. I just remember those kinds of interactions that we would have. You know, those hits, those touches on the shoulder, maybe a hug. You know, sometimes he'd give me a kiss on the forehead, little things like that, where it was just like, it was truly where he was interested in what I was doing or what my well-being was like. You know, and that to me is, you know, one of the things that makes him so unique from other captains is that he has that dynamic to deal with. It's one of the things that separates him.
And that's one of my favorite things about watching the show so far, besides always looking forward to Odo and Quark, is Sisko. I love watching Avery. You know, even when he's, you know, gets put into the game and he's looking around, it's just the subtlety, the subtext that's going on. And just, I love watching him. I really, really enjoy him as a captain. And I know where we go in this series, and I can't wait to get there. I'm like, can we like fast forward to all the drama and all this, but we have to build up to that and get into these characters and who they are. And again, let me go back to the episode. I feel they missed the mark in this episode. I felt they could have used the dynamic of this first contact, right? And that's a big deal. The word first contact has a lot of weight, and I felt they kind of somewhat trivialized it. They came in, they play this game. You have, and I'll kind of go through this quickly, and maybe we'll come back to certain points in it. Quark has no idea what's going on, and honestly, the game was all luck. There was no real choices that anybody made. It was almost as if just they followed a string down the hallway. There wasn't any real question of character or morality. Like, if you're going to force them to choose, then make them choose, and why. And then if at the end everything is saved, then they've learned something about them. So if they took all four of the characters that were in the game, as well as Quark, and all of them had to make certain decisions that carried weight, and from their perspective within the game or playing the game, now it takes them further through the game with that weight of whatever decision. Meaning, if Sisko really had to choose in a life and death situation between Dax or Kira, and then one of them died in his perspective within the game, he's going to carry that all the way through. And then if we reveal at the end that it's just a game, but the people that are now here, I forgot the race that they're called, now say, now we know a little bit more about you. Now we know how you think. We know because of the decisions you made in the game of go right or go left, up or down, now we understand you. That would have been a great episode, because it would have taught us about the characters. It would have taught us about Quark if he has to really make a decision, which they hinted at when he says play the long route or the short route. And it would have been even more interesting if he said, I don't care about them. I just want to win. Whoa. That would carry some weight. And if he thinks he's winning because now maybe Sisko, who's, doing what he's doing, and maybe he's no longer around, how would that have affected the show going forward? But that goes into something that Armin shared with me that I would want to share a little bit later. So anyway, I didn't know somebody was joining us.
Yeah, what did Armin say earlier?
Well,
Hey, Angie.
Hey, Angie.
Wow.
What's going on here?
I didn't catch. No, what were you saying that Armin said?
I've completely lost my train of thought.
No, you were saying Aron was joining, talking about Move Along Home, right? And like how his character kind of had a twist right there, right?
Yeah. I'm just.
Cirroc, do you have something to add to that?
We're going to join us mid-conversation. So, there was no real weight. So let's take Quark. He's playing the game. At first, he just wants to win. And at some point, Odo comes in and says, these people are missing. And Odo, and then Quark realizes, what's going on? What is going on, Ryan? You want to explain this? Because
yeah, we just all wanted to wish you guys a happy 25th episode.
Happy 25th!
All right.
Happy
25th.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, I have no idea what's going on.
Hello.
What's going on?
Aron, we were just wishing you a happy 25th episode because we've had
everybody's
times
here
together. So a bunch of our patrons and former guests are coming on to the next 10 minutes to congratulate us. And as expected, you had a much bigger reaction than Cirroc did.
Yeah, Aron doesn't like things that are not planned. He likes to plan things.
No, I was just in the middle of talking like the deepest part about this episode.
Yeah,
that could have made Move Along Home so much better. But we can all join in, and let me restart. How much time do we got?
Hey, somebody actually put their name as happy 25th episode.
Yeah, I saw that.
Hey, thank you guys for showing up.
I what you're saying, Aron, because I will get the opportunity in game situation to learn from people's,
yes, yeah,
character,
and
And I feel like Armin could have been, Quark's character could have been the one that really does a lot of the lesson learning, even outside of the characters that are involved in the game.
Yeah,
I would have liked to have seen him been able to communicate with the players, almost like a lifeline type of scenario, where where you're giving them advice or you're interacting with them so that they know that your decisions are the ones causing them whatever they're going through.
And he figures that out only because Odo says they're missing. His reaction should have been like, not my problem, I'm playing a game. Just the fact that he connected that like to the four pieces, I was like, that's a stretch. There wasn't really anything to make him like who connect to that. Who in their reasonable mind would connect that they're missing to this game and going, oh, I'm in charge of their lives. And then he does make the choice to care about them, right? And go, then I'll take the short path. But then when we come back to him on the next time, he's too busy worrying about winning. And it's like, and nothing he really does consciously makes a choice to help them or hinder them. You know what I'm saying? He just rolls dice and go, well, okay. And then he tells Odo, trust me. Trust a gambler. I'm like, who trusts a gambler? Nobody trusts a gambler. When does anybody say trust a gambler? Okay, you got it. Here's my money. I was gonna buy my house, but I'll trust you. And now,
what do you think, Angie?
And now we're dealing with what we think at the time is people's lives. So I felt they really did drop the ball there, and I felt that if the race or species that came across for the first contact, that the whole point of the game was to learn more about the Federation and these and these humans, if you will, then the game should have given them choices that demonstrated who they are morally, ethically, and enlightened them about, now I know who you are, Sisko. Now I know who you are, Dax, Kira, and Bashir. You know,
this episode was regarded as one of the worst episodes. I wonder.
I got a 6 on IMDb.
Do people feel that way? Is that how everyone feels about that?
A lot of people here to ask, right? They all share their points. Tina, welcome.
Guilty pleasure.
William, Crystal's back. Crystal, Darnell.
What up?
Hello.
James.
Hi, Darnell.
And John is here. Barbara.
Doing up, man?
Heather, Homer.
Hello.
Well, yep. Anne Marie, welcome. Anne Marie.
Tina in the house.
Hi.
Angie, where's Tina?
Kat, Crystal.
Who's happy 25th? And Kat? I almost missed Kat. Kat looks like she's, outside in between summer camp breaks or something,
Yeah, but just
I feel
about.
like she's gonna start smoking a
Nailed it.
cigarette. Yeah.
Wait,
No.
do we have anybody in the car?
Chelsea,
today.
where's Chelsea?
Yeah, where's Chelsea?
Where's Chelsea?
no.
Where's Chelsea? Is Chelsea here? No, Ryan?
Do you guys
I don't see her.
hate Move Along Home as much as people say that they hate it?
No, it's my guilty pleasure. I like it.
I like
Really?
it too.
They did
But
that
I admit-
dancing song.
It has story weaknesses, but I like it.
Why do you like it?
Not a big fan of the song.
Oh.
It's absolutely ridiculous, and it feels like a TOS episode.
Yeah.
It does. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, like that one episode with the game, the one where they kind of like all get
Gangsters of
Yes, okay.
Triskelion, I
Yeah,
think.
Gamesters of Triskelion, and the stepchildren of what's that one called?
Yeah.
Plato.
Plato, yeah. Plato's
Plato's.
stepchildren is that one. It feels
Yeah,
a lot
that's
like
right.
those.
I feel like I'm playing almost like whack-a-mole with my eyes. As soon as someone starts, I'm like, who is it? Who is it? I got 3
I
seconds.
thought you wanted Trekkie Squares or whatever it was. You got your wish.
Yes.
Yeah, Hollywood Trek Squares.
I see James too. Hi, James. How are you?
Hi, Ryan.
All the way from New
Happy
York.
25th to the 7th rule.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
25 years of the 7th rule. We just
25th episode.
I normally
Reckon you run out of things to talk about by then.
I'm like, I know I was making a joke.
And I was
My
sitting
mistake.
next to Avery at Dragon Con when they asked him his least favorite episode, and he mentioned this episode.
Really?
Yeah,
Was it because he had to sing and dance?
Alan Murray? He didn't.
Oh, I like that.
Wait a second. I have something to say about that little rhyme. It was the only challenge that they actually had to figure out. There wasn't anything else to figure out. Second of all, why leave the room? There was nothing threatening them. There was no real need other than the curiosity of a rat looking for cheese. And they could have literally just stayed there. There was no challenge. And I felt they actually missed an opportunity. So I'm kind of in somewhat of an agreement that it was a good episode or could have been a really good episode.
Yeah. Agreed.
I like Avery's face. He's so visibly annoyed in that episode. He hates being there. He hates filming it. He's like, I just don't want to be here for this episode.
Can you do an impression of him in that scene?
Not sitting
That
down.
was it.
Yeah, you have to jump around a little bit.
I have to jump around a little bit.
Yeah.
How's
And
it going,
those sticks,
Darnell?
the guy said the sticks had multiple uses, but all they used it for was to clap, which I thought was, they're either clapping like this or they're clapping with the sticks. I was like, figure it out. Which way are we clapping? I felt there was a little discrepancy there.
One thing I did like was I liked the scene where Odo is talking with the replacement chief, and he said he mentions Starfleet protocol, and Odo's like, "Oh, is that right? I have to follow the protocol? Is that what the protocol is?" And the way he mocks him in that moment is so hilarious.
The security guy really sucks, by the way. The
Well,
Federation.
he's gone after this episode.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And it looked like he was playing Tetris, you know? And he goes, no one showed up. And I'm like, they should have written him at least to be somewhat intelligent. I kind of blame the writers on this episode. Sid waking up from the nightmare standing up was a little unbelievable as well, you know?
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I'm just like, oh my God, calm down.
Now, real quick show of hands. Who's hungover from 4th of July still? Okay, I see
No,
Crystal.
actually, I did so good.
Looking at you
I
there.
saw you, Crystal.
I whacked that
I
mole
just
right
saw
there.
you.
Boom.
I got you, Crystal. Darnell,
Was it 4th of July?
What up?
Anybody had 4th of July parties, Heather? I missed
No, I
No?
kept it PG. Nothing
it. Okay, all right.
So
Just
what's the
me then.
difference
Just
on
me and
4th of
Crystal.
July PG from G? Curious.
Well, she can say
Mental
shit.
guidance was necessary.
There was no bad language included.
Smaller fireworks. Smaller fireworks.
We
Fireworks
got
require
rained
parental
on,
supervision.
My
We
fireworks is I turned on my oven, my stove, and it flickered. I saw a little spark.
Shit.
I was
That's
excited.
really sad.
I think
I was at Disneyland, so
I think
felt
my
better.
entire neighborhood spent like $23,000 on fireworks because it went on.
Wow.
Wait,
Yeah.
who
Who
went
was
to
that?
Disneyland?
Me.
Cat.
Raise your
Cat
hand.
went to Disneyland.
Yeah.
Cat.
Oh,
It was
Cat.
me, yeah.
You.
Who lives in LA that felt the earthquakes recently?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They shot down the rides.
All of them.
Yeah.
Crystal was
Yeah, we
in the
got a
pool.
couple big rides.
We felt that earthquake yesterday in Vegas. Yesterday, the day before, we
Yep.
felt
Oh, you
that
did?
in Vegas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They felt
for
it
those
in
of you watching
Mexico.
at home, the earthquake was between Vegas and LA, basically. So we all felt it from parts
Yeah.
of Nevada, Southern California, and even northern Mexico felt
It
it.
was terrifying. It
I
was
was
terrifying.
watching the
Yeah.
World Series of Poker live on TV when it hit, and the funny thing is, about half the people ran, and it's in the Rio where they have STLV, right?
Oh, yeah, that's
Oh,
right. Yeah,
Half
yeah.
the people
That's
ran, the
perfect.
other half just like protected their chips, like I'm not with you.
Those are true Ferengi. True Ferengi right there.
The parents with their kids. Don't forget that bubbler. Those balloons that they have, with the Mickeys inside them. Parents were just, we're not leaving without our stuff. I'm like, okay, bye. Crazy.
Who's,
World Series of Poker fan, huh?
Who's the telephone? Who's the telephone? Okay, not all.
Is it-
That was the quietest
one
this
wants to
group has
copy.
gotten right there.
No one wants to
non-video
fess
participant.
up. No one's showing their face.
Who's the we don't know who the telephone is.
Is it?
Anne Marie.
No, you can see me.
Wait, who is the telephone?
Oh.
I don't know why Crystal's giving Jazz fingers. They weren't hands; they were just fingers.
I can do that. Let's do that.
Fingers.
That's called the
20.
buble.
That's what Ferengi do to warm up for Umax. Saying warm up the fingers.
The jazz hand.
Thanks for joining us, John. You got your real name this time.
Yeah, wasn't logging in this
He
case.
was lurking.
He's usually a Kazon.
Darnell's frozen. Darnell's frozen.
Don't tell me I'm
That's common.
He's
Am I
back.
frozen
Darnell's
again?
back. No, you're good.
not, Darnell.
Hey, tell you what, guys, we are gotta end this recording in about 1 minute. So everybody say your goodbyes. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
why? Now we gotta. No, they
appreciate you
can't
guys.
away.
Why'd you get us excited? You got us excited to say goodbye.
Yeah,
Ryan's
you
just
can't
a
bring them in and then tell them to leave,
killer.
Ryan. I'm sorry.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
such a killjoy.
We gotta finish the episode like this.
Congratulations,
now.
Oh, yeah.
No, this is
Well
too
done.
much.
Hey, I didn't even know you were here.
Thank you for having us.
Yay!
What's up,
Crystal, I've been here the whole time.
Thank you, guys.
Homer, wait. Don't leave yet.
Yeah, I just saw Darnell. Hey, Darnell.
Hey, what's going
Barbara,
on?
is it nighttime where you're at? It
Yes,
looks dark
it
back.
I'm in the
What-
Netherlands, so it's 11:30 here.
Thank
Oh,
you for making it,
I'm
Barbara.
sorry we beat you, Barbara, but you guys, your keeper
Thank
is
you.
My brother's
amazing.
in the Netherlands.
Amazing.
Netherlands.
So real
My-
quick, how
my
many of you guys
brother's
are
in the
going to be at SDLV?
I'll be there.
Yes. I'll be there.
Likewise.
I'll be
Oh,
there.
Crystal, you decided to go, huh?
Yes, my Kickstarter's almost funded, so I'm going.
Good job. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Crystal.
That we'll see you at the pool, Crystal.
For sure.
Yeah.
Bye.
All right, we'll be
Oh,
right
no,
back.
you don't have to leave yet. Oh, everybody's leaving.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a very special edition, a heartfelt edition of the 7th Rule with your superstars, Cirroc Lofton and Aron Eisenberg of Deep Space Nine. I'm Ryan T. Husk, and we were just joined by, I don't even know, 12 or 15 or 20 friends. That
Crazy.
Wish a happy 20.
It was a madhouse, yeah.
Great reactions from Cirroc and Aron, exactly as we hoped. So
wait, didn't you expect Cirroc not to react, but me to react?
Correct.
And that's what you got. Cirroc just was like, yeah, what's up? I guess we're all here.
Hey.
And I'm like, hey, wait, I'm trying to say something. I can't concentrate. It's hurting my brain. Ooh, what's happening?
Yeah. And then Ryan says, hey, can you repeat what you just said? You're like, I don't remember where I was. I can't repeat what I just said.
I forgot what I was trying to say, and it was damn important.
But you were hell-bent on finishing your thought, though. You were like,
of course.
I don't care how many people there are. And whereas Cirroc internalizes his freak out. He's just like,
I don't think he freaked out. No, I don't think he freaked out.
No,
I think he rolls
not a
with it,
freak
like
out.
a wave hitting him. He's like, bam, all right, I got it.
This is what we're doing. I can only see one person at a time on my screen besides the three of us. So I only saw one person pop up. I didn't know there was 20 people.
There was like 12
until
people.
Aron said it. Then I started screening over and sliding. I said, oh, shit, he's right. There are a lot of people here.
Yeah, it was literally like boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, I don't think we have a roundtable scheduled today. Boom.
Yeah, they popped up so fast. I loved it.
Yeah, well, that was fun. I hope our roundtable can be like that this month because that's a lot of fun.
I don't know if you could see. I was trying to make it not too obvious that I was typing something on my phone, like while you.
It was. I kept looking at you, going, "Dude, why are you texting right now?
Like this guy's so
texting." And I thought to myself,
"You saw that too, Aron. You saw that too."
I did, Cirroc. But I knew that I was on screen right now because I kept talking, so I didn't stop because I didn't want the audience that you'll hear this now. Ryan was not paying attention. He was texting.
I was going like this. I was going,
yeah.
And that's a pet peeve of Aron.
I was fuming. You're right, Cirroc. I was fuming.
He was livid.
Anyway, let's get back to Move Along Home.
All right. So, yes, let's get back to it. Happy 25th show, Aron and Cirroc.
That was a lot of fun.
This almost 6 months ago. I want to say thank you to our patrons and our fans and supporters. We have 1,000 supporters on almost every social media thing. We have almost 2,000 on YouTube. We've got millions listening around the world on iTunes, maybe.
iHeartRadio.
Yeah, Odyssey Radio. Thank you to Russ Hasledge for everything he's done for us in getting this started. It's been 5.5 months.
Yeah.
I just want to say thanks to you guys and thanks to our supporters. And let's do another 25 and see what happens.
Let's just see what happens. Who knows? Maybe we'll make it to Discovery Season 3, Cirroc's favorite show.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm sorry to interrupt, Aron. You were saying about Move Along Home? I thought it was awesome how you were trying so hard to keep saying.
I did. I finished my thought. I got it. I finished it. I wasn't letting go.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No matter what's happening, you got to stay in that scene. Stay in that scene. How do I use it?
Aron, you were making a good point, though. Your point was very well taken in the fact that they miss an opportunity to do more.
Yeah, exactly.
And usually our show doesn't miss those opportunities. They usually try to question the audience and make a deeper meaning behind what they're putting out there, so that there's always this layered context of, okay, so this is about human behavior. This is about trying to cheat people and, teaching them a lesson for trying to be a cheater. It could have been a lot of lessons kind of laid in there where you were like, okay.
And you wanted heavy decision making. Like, they kind of hinted at it with Sisko having to choose between leaving Dax and going to save him and Kira, or saying, Kira, you go, I'm going to take Dax. But then Kira says, I'll stay with you, which gives you a little idea of her character, just a hint of it. But there really wasn't a huge choice. Sisko really should have been forced to choose one or the other, or himself. Right. And had he chosen himself, then that could have been the end of the game. And then I don't know the other character's name, the game master, would have then really seen what kind of human being Sisko is. And I don't think that wasn't touched upon. And one of the things Armin said is, he said this was a very important episode that he felt was for Quark, that he wanted to establish who Quark was and the truth of his character and the honesty. And I'm probably not quoting him very well here.
Sure.
Basically, he didn't want Quark to become a caricature of a Ferengi going forward. He wanted to have him a real strong character. Watching this, I felt, one, Armin succeeded, but I think he succeeded in all of the episodes. I don't think this was any different. Everything that he chose and his choices were all, in my opinion, believable all the way through the show so far. Now, one of the things he said to me that was really interesting is, he said, Quark's in a tough spot as a character because he's kind of like, if he gets in trouble with the law, hence the Federation, and they respond appropriately, that kind of removes him from the show. If they don't respond appropriately to his nefarious, cheating, if you will, behavior, then it shows them weak. So how do they really play Quark? If they play him as honestly as his character was established from the get-go, he's kind of a villain, right? He's kind of a criminal enterprise. He's a gambler. He's running a gambling establishment with quote-unquote prostitutes, as you saw what was required of the one Dobble girl that went to Sisko earlier in the season, right? Look what Quark's trying to tell me to do. I've got to do these things, so it's establishing a very seedy environment. And we're all used to seedy environments being criminal organizations. So now you have the Federation. How much of a criminal do you make Quark? Where do you draw that line? So in this episode, had they had drawn him to the point where he didn't care, which I felt would have been honest, to be honest with you, that he didn't care what would happen to the Federation, Bashir, Dax, Kira, and Sisko, by his choices in the game, that would have been the more honest thing. But if they're going to go with, okay, I'm going to care about them, maybe Odo should have made him understand why he should care about them, which would have, rather than saying, those are the four of them, he should have been like, so what if they are? Not my responsibility.
Well, the reason I think he cares is because he has a cooperation with Odo and Sisko. There is a relationship there where they lean some ways and they overlook certain things, and he's allowed to kind of have this autonomy.
That's true.
And I think the reason Quark would care is because he would see himself being stuck to answer to a worse evil. So it's almost it's the lesser of two evil things for Quark. It's like, do I like my, these guys that I'm working with that are kind of cool with me, they might give me some shit sometimes, but let me get away with what I need to get away with. Or do I have to work for these guys who are going to just totally boss me around? They got more power. They've got magical powers. They have more power than me. They're like a gang mentality, and I would be bullied by them. And so I think he makes that choice. Yeah.
Well, yes, you're 100% correct. But that's something that you come to your own conclusion by assuming or thinking that's what he's doing, right? Had Odo made that obvious to him once they realized that the pieces were them, then that would have been more interesting to see Quark choose, oh yeah, what's in my best interest then, right? Which would have been a fair choice, and then would have further established his character at being very what's that? Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on that word. A bit narcissistic. And it would have been, you're 100% right. I agree. Or would it have been even more interesting if it showed a side to him we haven't seen yet? That wasn't motivation. That truly in the thing in this moment was really inside him. And then at the end, Odo's like, wow, Quark, I guess you're not as bad as I thought you were. And then he says something in back, trying to show, oh, I am just as bad. Don't you even, think for one second that I am weak, that it showed a vulnerability in him. Maybe that would have been interesting as well, right? I don't know. We'll never know.
And one of the dynamics that I think Quark, you mentioned if the Federation is tough on them, they, if they're not tough, they look weak, and if they are tough, then he can get, removed. So one of the things that I was thinking about when you said that was like FBI informants or people that are informants that work with law enforcement and that are kind of allowed to break rules. So you're allowed to go buy some drugs because we need you to go tell us who the drug dealer is. And I feel like Quark plays that role in this show a lot, where he is in the middle of a lot of nefarious activity and he has the decision to make whether he's going to use his information to help the Federation and Sisko and Odo, or just to benefit himself exclusively. And I feel like he's put into that position, which is a good bridge to kind of have a person on the show where bad guys would confide in, or bad guys would be able to work a deal out with this guy. I can trust Quark to make this deal happen. So I think that's a good position for him to be in,
Right.
Where I think it's a good position because it allows him to play this go-between in this kind of diplomacy that he plays. He has this diplomatic position where he's, hey, well, wait a minute, hold on, I got money on the line here, so you can't just go and blow the whole thing up. You got to figure out a different way, and he's always kind of like that to some degree or another.
And another critique I have, and honestly, I feel like I want to hear what Ryan's thought is on this, especially where he knows where the show goes, especially with the character of Quark. But the other thought I had that also bothered me is they come up with a game, and again, it looks like 3D chess. And I'm like, come on, let's design something else. It could, at first what I thought the game was going to be was, those old things from the 80s where you make this kind of maze with a ball and it would go through and kind of go around and all the way down to the bottom. And I felt that the game should have been a little bit more clear of if what choice are you going to make, because your choices have consequences. And that's kind of what it was hinting at, but it didn't commit to that. It didn't commit to Quark, your choice here, your Latinum, their lives. Where when you're really pushed against the wall and you really have to go one way or the other, what are you going to do? And this would have also developed this species or this of people, of how they deal with things or how they get to know people. It could have been really, really interesting episode if they really forced people to make decisions. And Odo is the one voice trying to say, make the right decision. Make the right decision. And the other ones are the temptresses. They're tempting them. Ooh, but look at this Latinum. Come on, Quark. Imagine what you could do with this. You could move off the station. Odo's like, but Quark, and that battle is what was missing there. And it was really disappointing.
I felt like this episode also could have been like a Q episode. I felt like Q could have done.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. I didn't think of that. Yeah.
Instead of Q in the Q less episode that we
good call.
Didn't seem. It felt like Q could have been the guy putting these kinds of things at play and making Quark make decisions and throwing a wrench in it. It didn't necessarily have to be this alien race who's getting cheated by Quark because they're winning so much.
And I'll say this last, Ryan, and then please, because I know I've talked a lot about this episode, and I feel I monopolized this episode a bit. But the other thing that really bothered me is that at the end, they just walk away, and mind you, they kidnapped the crew. They kidnapped the crew, and they just walk away and goes, hey, okay, guys, take care. Give my best to the other side. Kirk, how dare you cheat? How dare you cheat? I'm like, oh, come on. We've known from the beginning he cheats. He runs a gambling establishment. I mean, you could even go back into the history of time of casinos that, that there's this myth that they're always cheating the players, and it's always in the best interest of the house, right? The house always wins. So to get so mad that this happened to them because he cheated, no. This happened because they kidnapped the crew. Now, what if it was Nog and Rom and Moogie that was kidnapped and Quark had to make decisions? Or Sisko had to make decisions because Jake was kidnapped, Dax was kidnapped, and Bashir and Kira. See, that would make more sense because we have relationships with them. Quark, with you guys, with the Federation, I'm like, you're right on what you said, but we should have seen that.
Yeah.
All right.
I thought it was corny when he said, "It's just a game." It's like, well, then what are we watching then? If it's simply, if there's nothing on stake, if there's nothing at stake here, then
right. Yeah.
Then it's like a dream sequence. Then
pretty much, yeah, that's exactly what it was. But without any payoff, we didn't gain anything from this episode, other than I think more about Quark and of course the performance by Armin and everybody involved actually as them as actors and the strength of their acting abilities and the character.
It was my first that I can remember scene where I'm interacting with Quark. I mean with Odo. That's where I have a little scene with Odo where he's asking me if I'm looking for girls.
Yeah.
And
your reaction was great.
And it reminds me of my daughter too. The funny thing is watching me at that age. My daughter is now closer to that age than I am, obviously. Mm-hmm. And so I see her facial expressions when I ask her, stupid stuff. And she gives me these looks, and I swear it's the same looks that I was using back then. So it's just full circle on the whole world, and how things work.
Ryan, now your thoughts. Yeah. I know you were prepping all the the whack-a-mole group that we had going on. But what are your thoughts? Especially in the thoughts you hear from Cirroc and I. Especially where we're going.
It is kind of a mixed bag. I think that I appreciated a couple things more than you guys did, but I definitely am aware that it's not one of their better episodes. Like the whole, it's just a game thing is really the tried and true trope that everybody hates. That is pretty much like a no-no nowadays, which is It was all a dream. In other words, there are no stakes. We thought there were stakes. We thought something happened, but it really turns out at the end of the episode, nope, none of it mattered. Nothing happened. Nobody died. Nothing. So that's a pretty powerful cop-out usually. In this case, it's more forgivable because it is first contact with a new race of mullets, space mullets. And I don't know if you guys noticed that, but they had some glorious mullets.
I did. And I also noticed a Mike Tyson-like tattoo that they had kind of just in a different place. It was the same pattern.
A little off-center tattoo,
off-center.
but I'm like, I thought that was a little bit, it was all right. But
to be honest,
even if it was a dream, if the characters learned something from it, or somebody gained something from that, then it would have been worth it. It would have been fine with me.
And in this case, there are two things. Number one is we as an audience learned more about Quark, and the people around Quark learned more about Quark, and maybe Quark learned a little bit more about himself. That's the one, is the development of Quark and how people view him and how he views them and how we are aware of this. The other one is a little smaller, and it's kind of something that Star Trek uses a lot, is we have now learned about a new race. Well, maybe they'll bring them back, maybe they won't, but at least it's supposed to teach us like, hey, this race values this and this race values that. Some of them never joke, and the episode is about teaching them humor, or some of them are very rigid with their rules and punish people by death for the smallest things, and we teach them tolerance. In this case, these people are getting us to, play their game and lighten up and, really gamble or whatever it is. It wasn't the best example of that kind of story that they do. So that was the other thing. I think part of the reason Armin likes it is, Aaron, when he told you once Nog became a cadet and he was moving into Starfleet.
Yes.
And he said, this is very good for you because now you are part of the solution.
Right.
Now anytime things go wrong, it could be Q, it could be the Dominion, it could be the Klingons, it could be an epidemic, it could be anything. But the core are the people that are part of the solution. So in this episode, Quark for the first time was part of the solution, whether he wanted to or not. And so that allowed him to say, look, under the direst of circumstances, he's still on our side. He's not just like, I don't care, they could go ahead and die for all I care, you know. When it comes down to it, he draws the line at murder. He draws the line at deciding people's fates and deaths. You know what I mean? Like when it comes down to it, we know that Quark is still a good person, you know, as we believe good people to be.
To take that one step further, here's the other reason why I didn't buy that as much, is because he didn't honestly make any choices in the game that had an impact. It was all by chance. Even when he took the shorter path, right, it really didn't make that much of a difference. That's why it kind of bothered me. And then when he makes the first choice to save them, right, to take the shorter path, then the next scene he's like, don't bother me, I'm winning. And then they went back the other way. And I really wish they would have taken more effort to do what Cirroc said, to show what you just said about Quark. What we do believe that of him, that that he draws the line at murder. He draws the line at getting rid of somebody. I wanted to see him really struggle with that choice and then make that choice and then draw that line. I just felt that they didn't commit to it, the writers. You know,
I actually expected something to happen that I thought would have been good, and I was wrong. And you tell me if you guys think this would have been good, was when Quark was begging for their lives and saying, please, I'm so sorry, I'll never cheat again, you know, the groveling or whatever. I fully expected, because I didn't remember this episode, I don't remember many of these episodes from the beginning, I fully expected him, when he went down crying and groveling and doing all this stuff, I expected him to, when he was down there, to have rigged the game or cheated in some way, to where they come up and they say, no, sorry, you have to choose. And he says, okay, fine. And he rolls the dice and suddenly he wins and they're all saved. And then they're like, what? I don't understand how this is possible. And it was just Quark being Quark. He pretended to say, oh my God, I can't do this. I don't want to, you know. And then as soon as they take their eyes off of him, because he's down there groveling, he's cheating, you know, whether he's typing something into his pad, whether switching out the dice, something like that. And then he comes back up and Quark saves the day by cheating and beating these guys at their game. And then, of course, Sisko and the rest come back and say, that game is banned. You can't play with our lives like that. Not it was all a dream. It was all real, and they could have died, and Quark saved them because he outsmarted them. I thought that's where they were going.
Good call. That's exactly what I thought,
that
too.
would have been a great call. That's another great possible way that they could have gone direction-wise on this story, that they lost the opportunity on, in my opinion, because they didn't commit to doing what Aron and what you just described, which is make a point of saying, this is about this, and these are the choices that they're faced with, and it puts you in a moral dilemma of how do I, figure a way out of this, or reveal something about the person, what they value or who they value, or what's meaningful to them.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get any of that from what they showed us. But I can say I didn't feel like it was the worst episode, like as bad as a rap it's getting. It was Armin carried the show. It didn't feel slow. He carried the pace.
Same with Odo.
Same with Odo. Same with Avery. Even though I could see Avery Sisko not liking the fact that he was there. He was visibly agitated and like, oh, I have to do this. I gotta sit here and play hopscotch. Yeah, double. I was like, I didn't sign up for this. I thought this was a serious show.
Especially because his voice got all high pitched when he didn't. He didn't go like, Alan Moraine, blah blah. He went, Alan Moraine.
And I didn't know about that scene until I saw the documentary where they had it at the end, and I was like, oh, let's not try to remember that. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's really bad. But I have to admit, when I saw the show, I didn't think it was as bad in the episode as I did in the documentary, because they were forced to make a choice and they had to figure it out. What I did like, though, is that Bashir didn't actually figure the whole thing out. And I'm thinking to myself, I guess he's not as smart as he thinks he is.
Not until the 5th season when he's a genius. All the time.
He's a genius, man.
But then when we get to that episode and we find out he's a genius, because I know we do, I'm going to go back to this one and go, well, he would have been a genius then, and yet he couldn't figure out that you got to do the hop and the song? Come on, you know?
Hey, he was undercover for Section 31. He couldn't reveal that he knew. So I don't know. I mean, overall, I didn't feel it was the worst episode that we've seen so far. Actually, I did.
Wow.
Q-less to me is the worst one so far.
Yeah.
I barely remember Q-less already, which is not a good sign.
You'll remember this one.
What did Q do to them other than that boxing match? Oh, he brought Vash.
Yeah, they just seemed like they were unnecessary for what the story was. I didn't feel anybody was unnecessary in this episode. You know, I liked the new race coming across. I thought, new delegation. You see a new uniform, like our delegate. Well, maybe it's not new. I don't know, and if we've seen it before. I thought that was kind of cool, and I liked how Sisko. I love watching Avery. I really do. So and I love watching Quark through this episode, having fun, you know, and the guy pulls out the cinnamon sticks, you know, and he goes, I have plenty of sticks. And then when Sisko says, take the juice, I love that part too. He goes, no, I won't. I was like, whoa. And Sisko was kind of stuck because he is a civilian. You can't force him to take the juice, right? So I thought that was kind of neat too. So Cirroc is right, you know, Odo and Avery, Odo, Sisko, and Quark, you know, they kept the show going. They kept the pace. They made it enjoyable when they came on the screen, you know. And don't call him Constable.
And it was funny, the new alien race that they introduced. I thought it was funny, the outfits they were wearing. They were a little
jazzercise.
Jazzercise or something. It was like
tattoos.
It was a little bit too like a hippie party
80s.
or something. I don't know, 80s hippies or something. Yeah, it was kind of weird. It was too casual. I felt like they should be more. I don't know.
Their god should be Olivia Newton-John.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly what I felt.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, friends, we're just about out of time here with the 7th rule. To be honest, I was glad that you were talking, you know, covering everything for the first half of this segment, because I was just reminiscing about the fun that I had messing with you guys. So thanks for that fun.
I gotcha.
That was a good time. I do want to say before we go that we're going to be unveiling new artwork this week. We'll tell you all about it shortly.
So excited.
It's really good stuff. We're very happy
to
tell you it's JJ Lendl, so check that out. Those of you that are watching on video or on any kind of YouTube or some other kind of video, even though there's only one kind of YouTube, stay tuned. We've got the free-for-all coming up right after this. Those of you that are listening in only on audio, then thank you so very much for joining us. And all of you, for Cirroc Lofton, Aron Eisenberg, myself, and all the people that joined us earlier, don't have the time to name them, thank you very much, and always remember the 7th rule. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the 7th rule. This is the free-for-all. They're going to go nuts, and it's going to start right now. We're joined with Crystal Star, Heather Jordan, William Conlon of Night of Diversity, Hope Lovich, your stars, Aron Eisenberg, and Cirroc, Ryan T. Husk. I don't know how we're going to get through this one, but today's topic is, what is your favorite pizza topping?
Pineapple.
Pineapple.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
We're starting that hard already. Wow.
And jalapenos.
Everything.
Pineapple.
Pepperoni and black olives.
Pepperoni and black olives. I like.
Are there other olives?
Green olives.
But do they ever put them on pizza? Yeah. I don't ever remember going to Round Table and it says
you're getting this
olives.
completely wrong, Aron. Yes,
I've never seen it.
You're wrong.
Prove it to me. Prove me wrong right now.
Have you been in New England? Have you been in New England?
I've never been invited to New England. Okay.
Okay.
You forced your way into New England.
I like dipping my pizza in ranch dressing.
Oh, or honey.
Yes.
Honey? I never did honey.
Honey. I
There's
just
a place. There's a place in Santa Barbara that has lobster pizza. That's amazing.
I love lobster pizza.
That sounds good.
Tube grubs.
I actually got kicked out of a place in Rome because I asked for pineapple on my pizza, and he basically told me that like he's done serving me. Like,
where was this?
That's sacrilegious. That's sacrilegious. You can't do that.
Really?
Yeah.
Prove it.
He got
Prove it right now.
Prove it.
quit serving me, and I had to get another waiter.
Now,
No
how
way.
do you dip honey inside of a pizza, though?
You just
honey?
drizzle it on top. It's so
Really?
good. Try it, and you're welcome.
I got pizza. I got honey. I don't know. I might be in Vegas.
It's good.
I don't know. So I could do it on my pepperoni too, though, right?
Do any of you know about the hidden pizza restaurant in Vegas?
No.
No, because it's hidden.
It's hidden. I know about it. So at Cosmopolitan, if you go up to the third floor where all the restaurants are, there's a hallway that just looks like it's like a maintenance hallway or something. You go all the way down the hallway, you find a hidden pizza restaurant. It's open till 4 a.m. every night.
Where is this again?
At Cosmopolitan on the Strip.
Oh.
The best pizza in Vegas.
The best
The
pizza
best
in
pizza
Vegas
in Vegas is hidden.
is hidden.
It's called, I think its official name is Secret Pizza.
The best place in Vegas.
They deliver?
The worst place in
They do not deliver.
A pizza place that does not deliver.
Do they deliver?
William, what if they just told you all of this, that actually on the other side is the real hallway? But all this time you've been coming down, you know, my favorite topping is cheese. I'm just saying. It's just cheese. Cheese.
My personal Goodfellas moment coming in the back way.
Cheese
Right, the whole
pizza.
time.
Pretty boring, Aaron, with your little cheese pizza. That's boring.
Wow, wow, why do you attack me for what my favorite topping
Because
is?
it's boring. Your favorite topping is boring, Aaron.
Who has a pizza without cheese?
Yeah, exactly. So that's not it.
That's always the number one. Then that's
like saying
always
pizza sauce.
No, then that is always the number one topping.
No,
Because
what about
that
pizza?
is what
Pizza-
everybody.
No. The sauce.
The real
goes before
question
the-
should be what's
No.
your number
Nobody
two
orders
topping?
pizza without cheese.
So right now I'm picturing Crystal with just dough and pineapple.
And it's gonna
Heather,
be a pizza about this big.
Whoa. What is that?
That's Serious Pizza here in Dallas. They're 3 feet by 3 feet.
and
That is some
they have a
serious pizza.
serious entrance. They're the opposite of Secret Pizza.
Yeah, they do have a serious entrance. It's huge.
You know where they're at. You
That's what she
definitely know
just
where they're
told
at.
you.
That's what you just told me.
No, that's what you. Who are you talking to?
So, William, did we get your answer yet?
Canadian
This
bacon
guy.
and pineapple. Classic
What is it?
Hawaiian.
Yes, Hawaiian.
That's a big win.
No, I prefer.
Heather says no. Heather says no.
No.
What's
I
the answer?
did have
Wait,
an
babe,
amazing
come here.
4-cheese pizza in DC, and it was awesome. It was
'Kay.
the best pizza ever.
What's your favorite?
Your favorite pizza
It's still
topping?
the pepperoni and black olives. That's what I get. I love it.
Cheese.
Oh God, the two cheeses are here.
You just got
Did Melissa just
They're
say
being
cheese?
cheesy.
Oh, Cirroc says you're boring, babe. You're
It's
boring.
a boring. It's a boring pizza.
Thank you. That's all the time we have on the 7th rule.
Yeah.
Better get out of here.
Wait, I have a question.
Yes,
Okay,
you
bye,
and the
baby.
beanie.
I have
What's
a
your question? What is it?
So, whichever your favorite show is, whatever it might be, as you were watching the show, as you started watching the show, what was the character you first started looking forward to seeing the following week, if you remember? In the first series that you watched, whatever it might be, Crystal said earlier, the original
So wait, the
series.
first series that we watched?
So when you first started watching Star Trek.
Okay, Star Trek.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I thought we were on. I thought that was clear. When you first started watching,
Wait, this isn't a West Wing podcast.
I didn't think I was gonna have to say the Shield, but no. When you first started, whatever it might be, Crystal, her first show was the original series. I don't know for Heather, William, and Hope.
Yeah, Leonard Nimoy. I was like waiting for his time. I had the biggest crush on him, and when I met him, I straight up told him he was my first TV crush. And Chekhov, Spock and Chekhov were like, I wanted to marry one of them.
So apparently this is switched to what was your first crush
Yes.
on whichever show you watched first?
I might have to say Wesley Crusher.
Is that your crush?
Who's
Or the
saying
character
that?
you
Is that
most
Heather?
look forward to the next week?
I loved seeing Wesley Crusher and Captain Picard together, like their interaction. That like was what I looked forward to. I loved it.
From the beginning, went like the first 10 episodes of TNG. That was your first show that you watched, correct?
I cannot remember much about watching the original series because I was very young. But the TNG is the series that I remember actively like watching. So.
Gotcha. Hope?
TNG was the first one I started watching first. I think the person that I looked forward to seeing next.
Cornell Davis, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
That cracks me up every time.
No, you stopped on us, Hope. We didn't
Yeah,
hear your answer.
you like that.
Okay, so what did you hear last?
Next
Well, we heard it all. It just didn't make any sense.
Except for the answer. We just don't know who you said.
What was it?
Oh,
Data.
Wi-Fi.
Data?
Data.
Gotcha. William.
Probably Riker.
Oh, really? TNG.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Cirroc. We talked about this on our last show. You said.
Marina Sirtis.
Oh, you're going not on DS9. You're going from your first show. He had a crush on her, Crystal.
Oh, I thought we were talking about crushes. My bad.
Well, you're excited to see them. It makes sense.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're talking crushes? Okay, Connor Trenier.
Oh, look
Are you
out.
sure it's not Riker?
Okay. Yeah, I had a crush on Counselor Troy.
Who didn't?
Yeah.
Dude, that one episode where she wears the see-through.
I was going to do an episode like that, Crystal. It was going to be
You still
amazing.
can.
No, the show's over.
No, you can do this show in a see-through thing.
Yeah. Well, I'm not wearing any pants, but
Me neither.
Yeah.
Anybody?
That's a good question, William.
You
Is
can't
anybody-
see what we're wearing.
Is anybody wearing pants on this episode?
That's a philosophical question,
No.
actually.
No.
I was at the pool. I'm literally in my bathing suit.
She basically lives at the pool in San Antonio. Just so
I'm
you know.
Dallas.
Dallas.
I know. It was a joke, Crystal. It was a callback to
I
only
drove to the bus.
one of us know what that joke was.
Stop
but
with the
rest would
callback
be-
jokes.
Yeah. Don't get upset. Don't get upset that I beat you to it. So what had happened is Crystal lives in Dallas, and then Cirroc said, what pool do you go? Never mind. Okay. Mine is Odo. I'm watching DS9 right now, and I'm really liking Odo.
I love
I look
Odo.
forward to him. We're only 9 episodes in, Ryan, and I'm feeling like I can't wait to see what more happens next week with Odo. So that's my call on DS9 at the moment. That might change, right? But Odo, and I think he likes pineapple on pizza.
With Deanna Troy's mom and Odo.
Oh,
I can't
yeah.
remember what episode that was.
Oh, it's a great show.
I love her.
Which episode?
The one where Odo and Deanna Troy's mom get stuck in
In the elevator.
Yeah.
Star Trek Las Vegas?
Oh, yeah.
DS9! What are
This
you
was
talking about?
I don't remember
With
this
me,
episode.
Heather.
It's pretty early, isn't it? Like season 1 or
And
2.
it was another callback. It was pretty good. I got like 2
Yeah.
laughs.
Stop with the callbacks.
But it worked because in a way you could have assumed that they were at a convention, got stuck in an elevator together.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Well, it's at the
initially,
trio, so it makes sense that the
Roxanne
elevator's
Troy was going to be a character that they're going to bring back a lot of times. And so they were trying to create that kind of situation to where she was going to be somebody that came back, 10, 15, 20, 30 episodes, but that kind of fizzled out.
Yeah.
I love seeing Lurch at Star Trek Vegas. What is his real name?
Oh, Mr. Home?
Thank you.
No.
No? His real name.
The quiet guy.
The actor's name.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
what's
God.
From the Addams Family?
Yeah.
Oh. I thought she started
we're awful.
Roxana Troy's bodyguard dude that never talked.
Yeah, I just didn't know his real name. But
Yeah,
I
Mr.
last year,
Home.
I think I ran into him in the elevator like 6 times, and by the end of it, we were just like, "Hello." Okay.
I love the one where Troy's mother comes and her pheromones screw everyone else up, and they're all falling in love with the wrong people. That's like, I mean, I'm a big Shakespeare fan, so that's always what I consider the Midsummer Night's Dream episode of Star Trek. So I always like that one.
Ted Cassidy.
Thank you.
Ed, welcome. I got you. I got you. I got you. That wasn't a callback either. That was, continuing on, what Crystal was talking about.
You said a Midsummer Night's Dream. That's what it reminds you of?
Yeah. Everyone's kind of falling in love with the wrong people.
Yeah.
And
I got it.
Yeah.
Whimsical havoc episode.
Yeah.
So this is what happens when you get a room full or a virtual room full of Star Trek nerds. The question starts off about pizza, and inevitably everything always goes back into Star Trek because
Well, I did ask that. I did ask a specific.
But it is kind of how we do things. Like no matter what happens, we always end up starting to talk about Star Trek again.
All right. Favorite character on Seinfeld?
All right, that's enough. Kramer.
Isn't there an episode of Star Trek that has pizza in it somewhere?
Hey, back to Star Trek.
Well, and it included pizza.
Peterman.
Star Trek.
And to answer you, in Star Trek 4, they go get pizza at the restaurant in San Francisco.
Yes.
And Captain Kirk drinks Michelob Light.
Whoa.
I love that you know that.
But
do you see the look on his face when he takes a sip of it?
Yes, that was the best part. He raised his eyebrows. He was like, "Oh, what is this?"
But couldn't they have replicated that anytime they wanted? And wouldn't they have replicated that anytime they wanted?
No.
Maybe not Michelob Light.
Yeah,
maybe something else.
Rock the Gino.
They did like Romulan vodka or something like that.
You see the look in the mess halls, the look on everyone's faces in the mess hall when somebody goes to the replicator and orders a Michelob Light.
I wonder who in the Star Trek universe really makes the worst ale then. The worst alcohol. There's got to be something like, it's got to probably be the...
I'm guessing
Ferengi doesn't make any. We just buy whatever we only buy the best. Maybe it's the humans make the Federation makes the worst.
That's
I
Neelix.
don't believe that.
Neelix, you think so?
Oh yeah.
Wow, poor Neelix.
Poor Neelix.
He's always experimenting with food.
Well, guys, we got to
with
run.
alcohol. He's an ace.
That's the end of the free for all. But thank you all for joining us.
I guess.
And we all look forward to your episodes. Thank you to our Trek Tech Heather Jordan. Thank you to our guests Hope Vasilovich, William Conlon, Crystal Starr, our superstars Aron Eisenberg and Cirroc Lofton. Thank you to me.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to me.
Who am I cosplaying?
We'll see you again real soon, guys.